of the recent talk has been about the Dragon Isles, and rightfully so, because some of the new data mine information strongly hints at a dragon-related expansion. There is some actual stuff we had uncovered. This is not just rumors. However, what if the new zone won't be the Isles, the Dragon Isles, but it will actually be Northrend? Right now, many things are strongly hinting at this continent. There is the entire cinematic where the jailer looks at the map of Azeroth with Northrend at the center. The dragons are in Northrend, the Scourge is there, that is where the Shadowlands connection is, where the sky was broken. So how likely is an updated Northrend being a setting for the next expansion? Record your raids, arenas, Mythic Plus, all with Squad-OV, the app that you just install, and it records itself without a click of a button. Aside from watching your friend's perspective and analyzing your performance, you can see complete encounter stats, spell visualizations, and a bunch of other things. Best of all, it can be done from anywhere, just from the web app. Check out Squad-OV completely free with my link in the description. I think it is pretty safe to say that Northrend may just be one of the best zones in all of Warcraft. Just a bunch of amazing storylines, vibes, themes, music, all combined into one single continent. The Fallen Vrykul, Old God Nerubians, Titans, various wildlife, all under the threat of the Lich King that had an iron grip on the continent. Overall, just an amazing experience. However, until recently, there really was no reason we would ever go to Northrend. Prior to the Shadowlands, the only speculation was that the Lich King might return, he would turn bad, Bolvar would turn bad, and maybe Yogg-Saron would return, but seeing as we know what happens, that isn't likely, at least this scenario that was speculated upon. However, with 9.2 spoilers and the most recent chain of events, this could actually be more likely than it ever was before in the past. There are a ton of hints and bits of evidence, but here is the number one point, the deal breaker. As you may be aware, Zovaal is the final boss of the expansion within the Sepulchre. He attacks Azeroth in the final battle, and he's dead set on restarting the universe, which means that the very fabric of the cosmos is tied with the Azeroth's world soul. Well, about a month ago, we had data mined a pre-raid encounter cutscene where the jailer has some really cringe lines about our mortal minds not being able to fathom his master plan, how long he has waited. But let's dismiss this. What is actually important in this cinematic is that in the main chamber, the jailer is standing over the obvious globe of Azeroth, which is evident with the maelstrom in the middle. However, almost the entire focus of this globe is actually on Northrend, like the entire continent is in view, and he's waving his hand over it, casting some sort of magic. If that is not a hint, I really don't know what is. If they really wanted to just focus on Azeroth as the planet and the world soul, they could have just used the entire globe, not just the continent. The entire thing seems like it was really done on purpose. Now, we know that in the end we will defeat Zovaal, that he is deactivated in a sense, but it is not certain what exactly is the connection between Zereth Mortis and the World Soul. But let's actually sum up all the information that we do have. So, Zereth Mortis is the dev keystone, the behind the scenes. The Sepulchre is in the middle, it is the engine. Inside the Sepulchre, there is a ton of Azerite beams, the actual blood of the World Soul. Now, we know that the World Soul is inside Azeroth, like we literally saw this blood flowing Azerite out of it when Sargeras stabbed it. So what does this actually mean? Is Zereth Mortis located inside Azeroth, possibly deep under the surface of Northrend? Are we literally in the core of Azeroth in 9.2? I really don't see in what other way the blood of the World Soul could flow to some distant realm and the jailer would be able to reach Azeroth directly to this place. Could this fact be a hint on why he's looking directly at Northrend? Also, as the jailer says in this cinematic, this was all a part of his millennia-old master plan. We also know that the jailer created the Lich King as a way to reach Azeroth. He was supposed to pave his way into the planet, and we know that we reached the Shadowlands through the connection in Northrend in Icecrown Citadel where the sky was broken. Let's just stop to think about why is all this stuff happening on Northrend? Is it really just a simple coincidence? Why would he decide to plant the Lich King there instead of, you know, any other place on Azeroth, any other island? And why is this connection to the Shadowlands in this place? Also, when he said that the Lich King was supposed to pave his way into our planet, did he really mean to come into Azeroth, or did he want to reach Zereth Mortis as he did right now? I honestly think many things right now are hinting that this first one behind the scenes, the Zereth Mortis, could really be located somewhere under Northrend. Maybe there is a way to physically reach some sort of vault under all this Titan machinery. story. When you really think about it, it just makes a ton of sense. Let's just look at all the hints in regards to why Northrend is so special. Remember, long ago when the Titans defeated the Old Gods and created the Titan Keepers? Well, they did that in Northrend. Ulduar was the main base of the Titans. All the Titan Forged originated from that place, therefore most fabled races come from here. Why, out of all the places on the planet, was it this part of the long-lost mega-continent? Furthermore, this ties us into all the new information about dragons. As you may have followed, there have been a ton of hints lately with the data mine store mounts, deluxe edition, bunch of textures, and bits of information that strongly suggest that something in regards to dragons may be happening in the next expansion. People have been calling this Dragon Isles, Rise of the Aspects, and a bunch of other names, and honestly, it wouldn't be surprising at all. It would really be a perfect way to bring us to Azeroth, get us to the old RPG dragons feel, while also having big cosmological threats in the background, such as the light and the void, maybe a loon, light, sun, moon, and all this stuff. However, do you know what really ties in all the dragons? Northrend. Yes, once again, this fabled continent ties everything together. As you may know, all the dragons originate from the proto-drakes, the ones you may have ran into in Wrath of the Lich King. They were all elevated above their primordial form once they defeated the incredibly powerful Galakrond, who once again was a scourge upon Northrend, and his bones are still present at the top of the world, like you can actually see them. Then the dragon aspects were created in Northrend, and a giant tower of theirs known as the Wyrmrest Temple was created in Northrend as the heart of dragon culture and their sanctuary and their main base of operations. So essentially all the dragons operated from Northrend. Well, let's tie all this together. So we have strong hints for a dragon expansion and all of them are tied to Northrend. We have the jailer looking at this continent in the sepulcher of the first ones. We have the connection between life and death being there with the broken sky. We have the scourge there whose fate is still unclear, and we also have old god presence there, and as you may know, Blizzard themselves said that the old gods will be returning as their story isn't exactly over. As we all know by this point, in 9.2, Shadowlands almost certainly ends. It may not be the final patch, although it most likely is, but it is most definitely the end of the main story and the end of the jailer. If he really is somewhere under Northrend, it could be a perfect transition into the next expansion. You know, the sepulcher being there, the broken sky, the scourge, the dragons. This could all lead to them revamping old zones, and as you know, Blizzard is trying to restore World of Warcraft to its glory days, so using Wrath of the Lich King as the peak of Warcraft would really be a good idea. Personally, I really would like an expansion like this, revamped old zones with possible addition of Dragon Isles close by. It would make sense for Northrend to be different now with the Scourge mainly defeated, the Lich King no longer being a thing that once held a firm grasp on almost all the sentient races there. Maybe the Dracarys trolls could rebuild and the Zandalari could help, as you know, they're our allies now. The dragons could be restored as well, possible introduction of the Nerubians, new Scourge storylines, and as I mentioned, even a possible allied race related to the Scourge, for example the Undead joining the Forsaken. So really, if Northrend becomes the focus of the next expansion, it would really offer a million different opportunities for the story to progress. Thank you for watching. Check out the hints of the Light vs. Void expansion and check out Northrend's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.